Hey guys, and welcome once again to the official GetMeOffTheMoon Echo Team podcast. I'm Skybane Zero, your host for this episode, and today we are accompanied by the team behind our rockets launch, which took place just a couple weeks ago. Also of note, this episode actually marks the 1-year anniversary of the Echo Team podcast. So I think a huge round of applause for Tim's in order.
Yay! That's my vote. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Tim. You rocking all that?
I'm feeling the vibe. It's definitely good.
Okay. But anyway, introducing our cast.
I'm Tim. I'm co-host for these podcasts, and as stated, I'm one of the people who first started.
I'm Judy. I'm the director of Genesius Films, LLC. I captured the footage for the rocket launch. Gonna make a sweet little short film about it and put it out to you guys, see if you like it.
Sweet.
Very cool. I'm Score. I was at the rocket launch and did a few things here and there, so we'll talk about that as the podcast continues.
Alright, so a couple of weeks ago, with the help of the Tripoli Houston Rocket Club, we finally succeeded in pulling off our highly anticipated rocket launch. I'm just going to give a brief description of the thing for those who haven't been very up-to-date with it. This launch was a project organized by Laron, aka Zeta, around 8 months ago to raise awareness for the Get Me Off the Moon movement. It started with the creation of a custom-built, fully functional replica of the rescue rocket from the MML-3 prototype that was supposed to rescue Mega Man Volin from the moon. We enlisted the help of John Boren, an 18-year model rocketry veteran for the job, and thanks to the contributions of various people in our community, we were able to fund our rocket in just 4 days. John completed the construction on the rocket in a matter of months. It took a while for us to get the thing off the ground, as I'm sure a couple of you know, but when it did take off, it was fantastic. Okay, so Ryan, Jesse, you two were the members of our team present at the rocket's launch. How about telling us a bit about the events that took place?
Man, where do we start? You gave a good intro there to the beginning of it all, and then from there and on the Get Me Off the Moon backstage. Jesse, how did you become a part of that? Again, how did that come to be?
That was a strange, miraculous turn of events.
No, Jesse, you started it. You came on to Devroom and
Yeah, that's exactly.
Offered your assistance to us.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, I had been bouncing on and off the Devroom for a while, just checking back and forth. And I saw that, this guy Zeta was building this rocket, or getting some quarters to help him build this rocket, and they wanted to launch it and get it filmed. And that just triggered a bunch of things for me. I'm like, heck, I've been wanting to see this rocket launch for, 13 years now? Got in contact with him. We ended up Facebooking each other and setting some stuff up. Indicting me into the Get Me Off the Moon backstage committee, and kind of went from there.
Cool. From my perspective, same thing as, seeing Zeta start talking about the rocket launch, raise funding for it. We got a couple of pictures of, is John Boren? That's his name? Yeah. Got a couple of pictures of progress. And then, Zeta was doing all this organizing for me and Hope, who it was sent to. It seemed like it went like that. All of a sudden, there's a rocket, just big old rocket, way bigger, way prettier than I would have imagined. And I've said all that to you guys. It's awesome looking. And it's in this garage now, and put it all together. Just gorgeous, great craftsmanship. Amazing size, proportions and stuff. So now we've got the rocket team. Zeta, I wish you could be here, man, because you.
Oh, I know.
Just saying thank you for all the organizing you did. We're talking fundraising, finding someone who could build the rocket, finding a rocket crew in our area that could do the rocket, and then conversing with Jesse over having him over here to film the rocket. And just big shout out to you, man, if you're listening. But so then here comes rocket launch day, and after sadly a couple of cancellations because of some, whether it's weather or scheduling for people, that kind of thing. So then we pick up Jesse. Great to meet you, Jesse. And so this whole,
it was actually a strange kind of occurrence there too. I was actually, I had known about you and Hope since probably the time I was 13, and I think we had that conversation. Crazy story.
For people that don't know, just this one real quick because we haven't said. Hope was supposed to be here tonight, couldn't make it. She cosplayed Roll for the rocket launch. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, same. Well, Laurent was supposed to be here too, but he was caught up with school, so
I'm the replacement.
Yeah. So we threw Tim in here.
No, don't Spricks though, since it's the year anniversary.
No.
Yeah,
it was exactly. It's fine. It's fine. Ryan knows what I said.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Basically, long story short is, I think I was still in high school. My little brother and I were huge Legends fans growing up, and just bouncing around the internet looking at Mega Man pictures and whatnot. But we stumbled upon these two kids that cosplayed Bullnut and Roll, and they cosplayed the heck out of them. And I was just always kind of an infamous visual for my brother and I. We kind of always went back to that when we talked about Mega Man and stuff. And it's just so weird that day to be picked up from the airport by these two kids that I've known about since I'm 16 or younger. It was crazy. Like little pieces all over the world finally connecting through Mega Man.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's cool. Like Jesse said, there's something special about meeting an acquaintance or a friend that you've only known online for however long in real life. Something neato about that. But yeah, definitely honored Jesse. He told me and Hope that as we were in the car. And other than that, we were just talking Legends almost the whole time. Man, conversations that many of us since the Devroom and Devroom and 100,000 Strong, places where we Legends fans can congregate. We've had some of these conversations over and over now because we all love it so much. Even I was telling Jesse, I was like, man, before the Devroom, I didn't have anyone to talk to about the can. But now I've heard so much about the can. It's like, yeah, the can. I know. It's cool. It's awesome. That kind of thing.
I know.
But yeah, so we actually had quite a bit of driving. So there was we got a good chance to talk, kind of get to know each other, talk about what Jesse's plans were for the filming and stuff. And we get there and what do we see, Jesse? Just describe it.
It's a giant field of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
A big blank
cloudy day.
And then in the tiny corner of the field, there's a couple of tents set up with some guys launching rockets. It was great. It was great. Everyone was a little they weren't quite sure what to expect. Everyone was kind of shaking hands and stuff and being like, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with your rocket.
Yeah.
Were they even used to a rocket that size?
They had a few rockets that were quite a bit taller than ours, but not as wide and definitely not as bulky. And
that's actually a good question because that was one of the first things on my mind. Because once we pulled it out, because we saw some tall guys, I don't know, maybe 7 feet long, just with a simple nozzle, just a real simple rocket with some tails around the end. So we bring this out, and they're like, "Wow, that's something," Yeah. So they were really impressed. Like Jesse said, it stood out apart from all the rockets they had. I mean, theirs were real basic, and this thing was blimpy, cartoony, bright, colorful, and these guys kind of didn't know what we were there for. And so I started to, tell them about, this girl's gonna get in costume for this character for this video game. We're trying to show some appreciation for the series, and I didn't want to get too deep and talk their ears off about the cancellation and stuff. So Hope comes out in part of her costume. She doesn't have the crazy spiky yellow hair yet, and I let them know. I was like, she's gonna have a big old wig and stuff, because she was a little bit nervous. Here's these old guys, these fellas, and they're gonna think I'm weird, and so I tried to prep them up, she's gonna be in a wild cartoony costume, so be ready.
It's weird, but there's still that certain charm that you laugh at it. You laugh yourself yeah, I know it's a bit embarrassing, but
over the top.
It's fun.
Hey, I wear my Mega Man shirt everywhere in public.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I've become accustomed to wearing my helmet out.
My helmet and Buster gun.
I think the closest thing I wear in public is my Marvel vs. Capcom 2 shirt. So, I don't know. I go to anime conventions and I see a lot of cosplay, so I think I'm sort of used to it, but it's like, there's a time and a place for everything, right?
Yeah, just as well as wearing your helmet out. Totally.
Well, helmet, some people like stormtroopers. My mom says I'm cool.
But what I was gonna say was that I was kind of not, because the guys had a couple questions, but you don't want to talk somebody's ear off about something they're not interested in. Well, like we've said, there was a small cluster of people that came out, about 6 or 7, maybe 8 people that came out to see the launch that are a part of the fan base. And I go back to the car doing whatever before we get ready to launch and whatnot. And before I know it, one of the girls is starting to tell these dudes, one awesome guy in particular, he'd be the one to count off the rockets, say a thing or two about it. But anyway, I get back and there's this little group and she's telling them about it. So, of course, I wanted to get on that conversation. And he's like, okay, I get it. You guys are petitioning, aren't you? That's what you do. Or not petitioning, protesting. Yeah. And,
not protesting.
I was like, yeah, kind of we are. He's like, you know what? You guys are doing it wrong. We're from back in the 70s. If we knew that, we'd get a whole bunch of people out here. And I mean, this dude's awesome. I don't know. It was hilarious.
He was actually the president of that particular launch.
Oh, wow.
Cool. I wish I knew his name. I mean, we shook hands and everything. We didn't really exchange names much, but yeah, that guy was awesome.
We'll call him the crazy uncle.
So Jesse, what after that, initially getting set up and we're getting the rocket prepped, explain to the folks, what went down on your side of things.
It was pretty much the whole time I was there, I had a camera in my hands. I tried to interact with people in the most natural and candid way possible, just getting their natural reaction to the situation. Got a couple of fan interviews, why they were there, what they loved about the series, what they wanted to see accomplished with this launch, and very inspiring things. Very heartfelt, honest reactions to everything. It was quite beautiful, and some of it was a little vulnerable. People had to really open up and talking about something they're super passionate about. That they even admitted that they don't get a chance to talk to too many people about, because how many people in your neighborhood do you know that are stoked about Mega Man Legends?
Yep.
Yeah, the fact that they even took the time to drive out there and show their support for the series by attending the launch, it just shows their dedication.
Exactly. Yep.
Even on the way up, I was telling Jess, because we were kind of make a game out of it. How many do you think will show up? How many do you think? I was kind of sitting around 0. I really didn't think anybody would come, which is fun because, only so many people are gonna be in the area.
Yeah.
Kind of an obscure location, so it's not that people don't want to be there, it's just kind of an oddity. So I was thinking nobody would come. So when we saw, we went to dinner afterwards, and, what was his name, Jesse? I can't remember off the top of my head now.
Put me on the spot. Oh, man.
Yeah, no, that's fine. He was there. The fellow that went with us, he was there for like an hour or more before we even. But before the time that we were supposed to be there hanging out. So that was pretty cool.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I was very impressed when I saw that many people showing up. I mean, like you, Score, I didn't really expect that many people either, because you just don't expect that many people to be in this certain area.
Well, right. It's very niche.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a under kind of a hidden gem of a game that
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, so we got everything prepped, and by the time that, and I kind of said it in the wrap up, by the time that we'd gotten our rocket ready to go, there had been several other rockets that launched earlier.
Yeah, there were at least 5 or 6 that went off before us.
Yeah. So Jesse got a chance to practice, following up in the air, and it was just fun to watch. And then for me personally, every time I saw one go up, I kind of look over at our rocket over here under this tent, and I'm like, man, it's gonna go that high? Really? It's gonna shoot off like that? I'm scared. I have this feeling of it's gonna come down and or it's never gonna come down, or it's gonna be destroyed, or something crazy like that, you know. But yeah, so we get it all hooked up, and Jesse's taking pictures of it before its final ascent, and they let Hope take the trigger, and on the spot, I guess I got to kind of call it out, like send it off over they had a little megaphone and stuff, so we just kind of announced it and said thank you to the rocket team and stuff, and Hope hit that button and like started sparking real fast and took off into the sky. It was to me, and I don't think I'm being biased, I think it was the prettiest launch that day. 900 feet in the air, straight up and smoothly down, split in half, and that parachute came out and it just glided. It's awesome.
Well, even if people don't know about the game or the idea, it's like if you see a rocket like about to be launched, people will still like, oh, that's pretty cool. So that's all.
It's wild they could launch them that big, you know.
And even if they don't know about the series, if they see that rocket go up, they might decide to do a little research on it.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Big rocket, pretty. Yes. But no, it's like, I'll be honest, I only seldom knew about like the details of the whole rocket thing. Like I knew Laurent started it all, and you know, it was a good idea. It's like not so much as protest, but it's still like sort of a commitment, right?
A showmanship of
showmanship.
A publicity stunt.
Yeah, sure.
That's all I think.
Yeah, publicity stunt.
But no, I'm just like, you know, it's at the very least, I'm sure it's going to turn out, the video's going to turn out wonderful, so... You just see my skills, noob.
You see my skills.
Alright, so with this rocket just taking off, what do you guys think is going to be Capcom's reaction to this, if any?
I think if, at the very least, they see that that there's a community out there willing to come together and still have fun with this IP, and that's my basic hope for everything that we accomplish with this, is that they see that people still want to have fun with Mega Man. Yeah, specifically Legends.
Yeah.
Mega Man Legends.
Realistically, what I think will happen is, you know, I'm sure it'll catch their attention. They'll post on Capcom Unity, especially Gregaman. And, you know, he's really cool about it too, which is great. Other than that, it's, you know, it can go anywhere from there, but at the very least, I'm sure it'll catch their attention.
Yeah, I highly expect Capcom Unity at least to do something about it. I'm not quite sure about Capcom Japan, but I at least expect Capcom USA to give us a shout out of some sort.
Yeah, and there's a good reason to think that, is because, I mean, one thing stands out in my mind is the very first Devroom event.
Yep, they covered it.
Yeah, Gregaman put it up on the main page on Capcom Unity. He said, hey, look at this. I can't remember what his exact wording was.
Let's see. It was a Pharaoh Man forum pick, I think.
He also revealed that Pharaoh Man was indeed Gregaman.
Nice.
That's all I remember from it.
Plot twist.
Plot twists everywhere.
But yeah, those Devroom events, we've only had 2 as far as I remember. Those Devroom events are a direct, hey, we're trying to, it's another publicity stunt, and a way for the fans to have fun. So, the fact that they weren't afraid, I think even remember not to, like, rub any salt in the wounds, it may have been that, but, yeah, the fact that he was willing to post it on the main page like that, makes me more, optimistic that they'll potentially cover this rocket launch, and, I think that we won't get anything, any kind of solid reaction, but I still think it'll be powerful, and partially because that recent review, and we were talking about it, Jesse, on the way up to the launch. They put up that, or not review, a poll for the next Mega Man thing you'd like to see released.
Exactly.
Legends was sprinkled throughout it in different areas.
Whether it was DLC stuff or like re-releases or...
They didn't mention Legends 3, and I understand that, but
it's Legends.
Exactly.
It's still very
still in there. So they're paying attention to this stuff, and so even if we don't get a public acknowledgement at all, even, they're paying attention, and the more we can do, the better, because I'm convinced it was the money. not Keiji Inafune or anything else. It was the fact that they were getting into it and they realized, man, we could really lose a lot of money on this, or they thought that. And so they pulled the plug. And the only thing we can do to combat that is let them know that there's a dedicated fan base that will pick it up and that we will... Holy cow, they have so much free advertising now if this game gets released. so much free advertising to the point where, I mean, you will maybe never ever heard of Mega Man, and it will be, I mean, this will be on your Facebook, this will be on your internet outlets because of the amount of attention this whole thing has gained, you know, and how passionate those of us are on this page. So I think it's gonna do something.
I agree.
I think it's gonna be a drop in the bucket, and that's we need every drop. So.
Amen to that.
And of course, when the footage comes, that's when the boom will hit.
Hopefully.
Right on.
Yep.
So Jesse, we have high expectations for that footage.
Oh, all the pressure.
Hey, it's
Hey,
great.
you guys
It's great.
You better put Team Rocket, I swear to God.
Everybody that's listening, when you see, like, and this goes for everything, but like when you see that video launch on the Facebook and stuff, share that stuff. I mean, because we can see, as admins, those of us that are admins, we can see a bunch of people looking at this stuff, looking at the posts and whatnot, and the likes, and, you know, obviously the likes and the comments, but, I mean, the shares, for as many people are viewing things of importance, it'd be great to see more shares tacked onto that, so we can spread the word out there. And so once that video goes up, it'd be great to see people share the heck out of it. That's all I wanted to say.
Yep. Right on.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Alright, I guess we're about done here then?
That's it for the Rocket, I think. You know, we're gonna have the actual video, so it's...
A couple of things I wanted to talk about with the video is, but Skybane and I and most of Backstage have kind of been, you know, pondering the idea of, you know, do we do something bigger with this video besides just putting it on YouTube? And you know, recently we've got the news that there's this big event in June happening in Japan, and that would be a lovely platform to put this
What's it
video
called?
out on.
Oh, I posted that on Backstage, Ryan.
Okay,
You can
I
check
haven't
it
been
out
on
there.
Facebook for about 2 weeks, probably. Like besides checking messages.
Basically, it's a huge Rockman event in Japan that Capcom, a famed Rockman fan, is planning. He says that he's planning it to be an event that'll go down in Mega Man history.
Okay.
And it's going to feature iconic people in the Mega Man universe, all these events, all this stuff happening. It's going to be just fantastic. And I am hoping that we can arrange a mutual affiliation with them to help them arrange the event. Obviously, we don't speak Japanese, but I'm hoping Jack can help me with that.
Anyway, to jump back to my point real quick.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jesse. You can go ahead.
No problem. Yeah, talking kind of about what platform this is released on. I think experiencing the event firsthand and kind of getting some of the testimonies of fans and then can talk to more people who are passionate about Mega Man and video games in general, which is some other footage that I'll be including in the video as well. Just seeing that there's a bigger story here that could go a lot further than I think just YouTube, and something we had kind of been talking about previously is maybe pursuing a film festival route.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's it's a little bigger than we all originally anticipated, and we'll definitely have to bring it up to the 100,000 strong first, I believe. But I think it's something that could be successful going that route because there's such a beautiful story underneath all of this.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, there's also a possibility, and this came to mind just now, you know, museums of technology and all that. I'm sure, even if it's just like a temporary thing, you can just say, you know, we got this Rocket video, would you mind, you know, just like more for, not just for an internet thing, but for like a public sort of event sort of thing. So in a way that could work, because, you know, most people like museums, especially when they revolve, like, you know, all the technological stuff. But no, that just came to mind. I'm thinking.
Yeah. It's good to brainstorm. My thing is that getting hung up on a project that, you know, maybe won't happen, and it'll just be a long waiting time. and then it'll be like, okay, well, we can't do the film festival. Let's just do what we thought originally. You know, like trying to, because I've done it before. Been biting off more than I can chew, and it's just you, Jesse. You know, and so it might be good to play it safe. Like it's great to think big, but if
there's
it's
a
bigger
good
than you
chance.
can handle.
No, I appreciate that. I understand where you're coming from. That's a good thought.
There's also a really good charm for like simplicity, right? Like, you know, just
Absolutely.
you take the video, you add maybe some Legends themes to it, and that sort of thing. Well, I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just saying, like, you know, think of the basic concept, and if you have anything, you know, extra, obviously, you know, by all means.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, there's so many things, like, you could, like, alright, let's tell the entire story up until now.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and you know...
No,
and-
the whole idea is it's got to be 15 minutes or less. That's the whole
Okay.
that's the whole idea behind it. And cool thing about it is several festivals usually only choose their short films based on that time bracket. If you're under 15 minutes, including credits and everything, you're golden, and usually have a better shot of getting in. And I actually have been researching film festivals in Texas, and Austin Film Festival would eat this up in 2 seconds. One, just because it was shot in Texas, and involves, like, you know, the Rocket Club there and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do think it's something to pursue, and we can obviously talk about it at a later date and stuff as, you know, the editing becomes more complete.
Exactly. So and I was just going to say that'd be probably the best way to approach it. Start the editing, you know, see how it's coming along, how long it is, and if, you know, whether it's lacking in content or it's just enough content, or, you know, do the editing first, and you don't have to commit to anything otherwise, and then go from there. That's 2 months, and you were hoping for a month of editing-ish. You know, these things can take longer than we expect sometimes, so
For sure.
you know, do the editing, and then if it's really heading that direction to where it could be entered into one, do it, man. Like, we'll talk about it, man.
Right on. Thanks for the encouragement. I appreciate that. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really all. There was one other topic I wanted to touch on. My lady friend Maya and I have been following BioShock Infinite pretty close, and kind of the development behind all that. And it actually took them 3 years to get that off the ground, and actually it was delayed a whole year.
The video
And they
game
put
itself.
Yeah. And I guess the production of it, and, you know, putting it out onto the market. It was delayed a whole year, and they recently put out a very passionate, heartfelt letter to fans. Like, thank you so much for waiting, you know, for being patient with us and all this stuff. And granted, BioShock is kind of their flagship, where Mega Man is not so much in the limelight for Capcom anymore, but just imagine, like, if Capcom could have done something like that, like, just postponed it, and things like that. I don't know. It seems like there's a far better way to go about it than was, obviously. And it's exemplified in several other game developing companies. And, you know, maybe that goes back to the whole thing where Kenji Inafune is talking about how Japanese game developers, they're changing, or you know, they're resisting change, and they're not moving forward enough. And
Well, I've been reading some other stuff about that, but it's kind of it works for certain parts of it, and there's certain parts I'm kind of against when they say certain things like that, because, you know, there's still Japanese games I love, obviously.
of course.
But I understand the whole, you know, if you want to go for the whole global market, you know, you're going to have to put that extra effort, right?
Yeah.
Well, Inafune acknowledged the fact that there are still Japanese games out there that are impressive. He just says they aren't as common as they used to be.
Well, no, I like those old Super Nintendo games. That's probably my favorite system still, but, you know, just the amount of things that came out that just prove that, yeah, they know what they're doing, but they just couldn't get back into it, I guess.
Yeah, I personally gotta say, I don't know, because he was vague, he wasn't specific about it at all, Keiji. I don't know what he means when he says that they're not doing what American game developers should do, because he didn't really say what they're doing wrong and what they should be doing. So he can't really talk about it almost, since you don't know what the potential quote unquote problem is, you know?
It's vague.
It sounds more like it has to do with not the actual developing side of things, but the business end of things. You know, the way they handle themselves as far as public relations and things like that goes.
I mean, that's the first thing I speculate is public relations. You know, maybe, I mean, because we're living in a social networking kind of, everybody can talk about everything together no matter what, where you are or whatever. So the company's going to have to be a little more open or whatever. I don't know if that's the problem though, so I can't really comment on it exactly.
Yeah, because it's
can only speculate.
Right. Plus, if you think about one thing, it's like, you know, how far do you go with it, and is this really the issue? Stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, so
no,
it's almost not worth it if you don't know what the problem is in the first place.
Exactly. I'm sure Inafune kind of understands what he means himself, and he doesn't try to make it more like, you know, you guys should think like the way I'm thinking, but the way he's going at it is certainly kind of reminiscent of those. And I think I talked with Sky about this, reminiscent of those old, you know, when they made Mega Man, then they made Mega Man X, and then Mega Man Zero, sort of examples. So, you know, it's like I'm sure he knows. He's just saying they're not, you know. I think it'll always go back and forth because remember, you know, back in early 90s, PC gaming was like strictly Doom. It was American companies and European companies, and then the consoles, and it was like, it kind of goes back and forth, and I think that's kind of normal. But the one thing I don't like about the game thing is like if I remember Laurent saying Atlas does it differently, like they make a certain amount of copies, but it's like if they don't break a certain percentage, the company is like, oh, we have to do layoffs and all that stuff. I'm like, that wasn't as common back in like before PS3, 360.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I know there's more risk now these days because of the budgets that go into current games, but you know, I don't know much otherwise.
Well, and
yeah, the market wasn't as competitive back then as now either.
Well, I think it was, but at the same time, they always did it with, you know, let's make this really fun game sort of thing, and that's I think what Inafune's getting at more than anything.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but that pretty much goes hand in hand. I mean, the competitive side of what video games have become, you know, because they're so big, because the budgets are so big, they can't really just create, this might be a fun idea, maybe something lighthearted or something off the wall, an odd idea. You can't really do that because of all that's at risk. So, I mean,
in the end, you need the numbers to, you know, justify what you're doing.
Well, exactly, but that's like I say, you know, I remember reading interviews and, you know, Hideki Kamiya and all that, and they were saying like, you know, there were risks back then too, but you know, they didn't have this. They didn't have. I guess they didn't have the mentality of, oh, let's try to make $2 million off this game or something like that. I don't know. It's a whole mess trying to make sense of it because it's like, well, you think it's one thing, but it turns out there's other stuff you have to consider, right? But, you know, and the one thing, and Laurent said this last podcast, but this is where I kind of disagreed with him. It's like, and he was talking about Nintendo, you know, it's like, oh, you know, they should have the whole online aspect and HD. Well, he didn't say it exactly like that, but he was kind of hinting at that. It might have been Dash, actually.
Get your facts straight, bro.
That does sound like Dash.
Like,
I don't remember.
Oh, no, it was last podcast, and then well, wait, were you last podcast? Okay, I gotta get my facts straight. Anyways. No, it's, I've always followed the mentality like, you know, graphics don't really make or break the game for me. You know, it could be nice, sure, but you can have like a really 16-bit game-esque, I guess, sort of looking game that plays like, you know, wonderfully. And I'm sure the money that goes into those graphics won't be as much as it would say something like Final Fantasy 13, right? So, I don't know. It's
not saying that graphics do contribute something.
They do. I'm not saying that.
I mean, I know that I personally would not be happy with another Mega Man 8-bit game when we've come so far in technology.
Well, there's that, and there's the fact that, you know, it's like, you know, Mega Man 9 and 10, they were fun, they were fat, but you can't just keep doing that. I agree with that. Maybe you make Mega Man 11 and 12, and they're like, oh, more updated. And let's say, oh, Mega Man 13 goes back to the 8-bit just for nostalgia's sake. You know, that isn't too much of a problem for me, but I do agree it might get a bit boring after a while if you keep doing it. Even though the games are fun.
I'm about in the same area as you guys. I'm not a graphics whore, as they call it. Like, I don't care if, I can go back to old games. Even if they were a system before my generation, a game I never played and don't have nostalgia ties, you know, I can accept most all of it. But I do have a standard for, if it's current, you have the tools to make it look like it should. Either it's intentionally rough looking, or it needs to be beautiful. You know?
Yeah.
Or it's intentionally a throwback, I should say, or stylistic. You know, so I have
kind of like the Scott Pilgrim game, or.
Yep.
Or, you know, I know people might disagree with me, but I've been playing Doom 2 recently, and that still, to me, stacks up well today. It's like, you know, sure, it's reminiscent of its time. It still looks kind of like, graphics-wise.
That's
not
like
not,
Legends. That's a full circle. That's like Legends. It's, I mean, it is still pretty okay. There are a lot of issues here and there, but I'm not a graphics whore. If that's what they had at the time, it looks great to me. You know,
I think those restrictions actually help them. Like, it's like, okay, we want to make a game that's unique, you know, and it's like how they made Mega Man. It's like, okay, we used mostly different types of blues because that's how many colors it had, but look what they created. There was details to it, right?
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing that's important, I think. And
yeah, and that's a cool thing to just talk about later. Like, it's just an interesting part of the story of the development. But don't get me wrong, I would love to see, you know, I was talking to Jesse about it on the car ride, because we had some time, we had some hours. I would love to see, as much as I like the original Legends series, I'd love to see that stuff remade. And like, just smoothed out graphics and stuff, but until then, I'll be very okay with the way it is. For sure.
But no, like I said, you know, you can have a game that's kind of basic, simplistic looking, graphics-wise, you know. So I can't think of a better example, but it's like Phoenix Wright. Like, I started getting into that because, you know, Ryan and Laurent kept talking about it, so I actually gave it a shot. And it's a Game Boy Advance game, so it's a bit rough around the edges. But I'm playing on the DS, and it's still, the game just looks. I know it's a visual novel, but it looks amazing.
Did it come out on Advance first?
The first 3, yes.
What?
But they were only in Japan, I think.
Okay, yeah, I've only ever played them on the 3DS. Or not, the DS, excuse me.
Yeah, well, I have the DS and the Wii, but no, it's those things. It's got personality to it, is what I'm saying.
Right, and that's a good example of these are the graphics we can handle now, and now let's do something stylistic with it and make it pop. You know, because it's just cut out cartoony. You know, drawings or whatever. Yeah. Although the new one coming out on 3DS is going to be full movement, as far as I understand, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Oh no,
like
I'm saying
cell shaded looking.
Still,
which, I don't know. I kind of like those drawings. You know,
it looks good in its own way. But you know, they could always, you know, the next Phoenix Wright game. Oh, we have Apollo Justice style. So who knows? You know, I think that's the great thing about stuff like that, is that you can kind of, you know, oh, I know people like this, I know people like this, but which one should I stick with?
Alright, then I guess that about wraps this up. Remember, guys, if you have any ideas for new campaigns, convention appearances, prize ideas, or just ideas for our movement in general, shoot us a message on our page, and don't forget to join the Devroom, sign the petition there, and like our page at Facebook/GetMeOffTheMoon. We are an awesome community with a diehard passion for Mega Man Legends. But anyway, again, terrific job, guys. Ryan, thanks for making it to the launch. Jesse, thanks a million for filming it. And, of course, a huge thanks to everyone who helped fund this rocket, everyone who helped promote it, and everyone who kept faith in us despite 2 unfortunate postponements that were kind of forced upon us. You guys rock.
And to everyone who's been watching this podcast and actually enjoying them, thank you.
Oh, yeah, 1 year anniversary.
1 year anniversary, so thank you for watching.
Yeah, guys, I mean, as always, don't just listen. Talk in the comments. Like, we check up on those sometimes, you know. Discuss with us. We'll be in there talking about everything we talked about with you. We're all, you know, a Legends community, so we want to talk about it like we are right here with you guys. So speak up. Let your opinions be heard.
Yep. And last but not least, thanks a ton to Laurent for organizing this project. Laurent, I know you're listening to this recording, so let me tell you that your efforts are appreciated by all of Get Me Off the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Laurent.
I think a round of applause is in order for him. Alright, so until next time,
Legends never die.
Keep fighting the good fight, guys.
Rock and roll.
No, I'm getting right straight.
Thanks for having me out, guys. That was fun.
We're filming a bunch, man. I've done it without you.
And I might drop off a bit soon, but no, I'm going back to. I honestly cannot get enough of things right. I beat every game so far except Apollo in the span of maybe a month.
I think we're about finished here. We can talk after the podcast if you guys want.
So, a new topic for the podcast, the lighthearted one. Cartoony music and bright colors show up. What Legends merch do you own? Actually, one second, let me get a drink.
Alright, like I said, let's do the ending for it, then we'll have the after talk, because kind of like how me and Sky had the after credits bloopers sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oddly, most of them seem to be my gags, which...
Yeah.
Not to blow my own horn.
Oh, Papa.
Okay, I was going to ask you to help me edit this, but quite frankly, I would like to get this out as soon as possible, so, I mean, I think I'll have more time than you this week.
Yeah, like I said, just keep it simple, keep it to the basic stuff, like...
Yeah, it kind of ended up longer than I wanted.
No, and if you want, just save all the bloopers for the massive blooper video, I guess.
Are we doing something like that? Because I missed that.
No, but, never know. It's not planned, but you never know.
I'll just send you a copy of this recording and have you put together a blooper video.
Even if it's just for my own amusement.